Ludicrous Feed is proudly sponsored by Carloop, data to empower Australia's EV revolution, and Hankook, driving emotion.
Hey everyone, it's Tom here from Ludicrous Feed. Thank you so much for joining us. Behind me is the Deepal S07, and tomorrow we are actually going to do a long drive from Sydney here to Canberra, which is about 300 kilometers away. I'm just going to prepare the car for that drive by charging it to 100% before tomorrow. So let's hop inside the vehicle and discuss a few things before we do that. Pretty noisy outside with the cicadas. Just want to show you the current stats. So I've driven this car now for 51% of its range. I got this car at 100% a few days ago, and I've done 224 kilometers. So I think you could probably get 420, 430 kilometers at a stretch at full charge. So that is from 0 or at least 100% down to 0%. Admittedly, I've used some of the energy for the reviews, just sitting in the car with the aircon running and so on. If you want a full review of this car, check out my recent video of that. But in this video, I will be actually talking about road tripping in this car. Again, just reminding you, from Sydney here to Canberra, about 300 kilometers. And to prepare for that, I'll be charging this car to 100%. I'll be doing it in 2 stages because I've got the time today. By the way, it's Christmas Day today. So this morning I'll be going to my local Tesla Supercharger because I've got some credit for use to charge this car up to say 80%, and then doing the rest at home just overnight because I won't notice the time. So that's probably the most efficient way of charging this car up, I think, given the credit that I've got. All right, well, let's head off to Chatswood for a Tesla Supercharger session. Let's have a look. All right, let's get going. So, foot on the brake, nice welcome sound, and away we go. All right, the car park is open on Christmas Day. How good is this? The car agrees. Well signed. Can you hear the low speed pedestrian warning sound? There's even some vocals as well. Like a very ethereal kind of sound. Ethereal meets ice cream truck. All right, backing in. These are V4s, so they've got long cables, and my charge port is on the left. Oh, I'll stop there. So there we go, left side. Pop open both plugs. Let's grab the cable. Still no tap and go facilities. Very slack Tesla. Really should be having credit card facilities, I think, this day and age. Okay, plug in. Okay, so let's charge our non-Tesla EV. Here we are in Chatswood. Okay, scroll across to 2D. I might just change my payment. Oh, I thought I could use my Tesla credit, but I can't. It's just credit card for now. That's all right, I'm here anyway. It won't take too long, it won't be too expensive. Okay, back on the screen, 2D, start charging. Okay, I'm hearing some clicks behind me. Looks like it does work with a V4 Tesla Supercharger. I'm sitting on the passenger side, by the way, and the screen is tilted towards me. So yeah, that's one thing about the Deepal. The charging speed is a little bit slow. When I say a little bit, I mean actually slow for a car this size and battery this size. 79.97 kilowatt hour NMC battery, and tops out at 92 kilowatts. So that's probably the one drawback of this car. I'm going to charge to say 80%, I think, and then do the rest at home because it'll be too slow otherwise. Looking at 1 hour from this point, so that's, I don't know, that's a bit slow, to be honest with you. And on the Tesla app, you can see exactly what's happening, almost percent for percent in real time. State of charge, and then the charging fees, charging rate, which matches the car, energy delivered, and duration elapsed. And you can stop the charge as well from the app too. Okay, I must admit I'm getting a little bit impatient. It's still 72 kilowatts at 60% state of charge. I might do the rest at home, honestly. It is Christmas morning. I've got to get back and get lunch going for people coming over. But you can see the stats there. Paid $7.50, 11 kilowatt hours, delivered in just under 10 minutes. So I might go and unplug now. Okay, so let's unplug the car. We'll stop the charge. There we go. I should just be able to remove the plug. Let's slip it back into the cradle. Straight back in. Alright, let's head back. This is something I always need to do, just re-plug the car with these rubber plugs, otherwise it will drive off without them being covered, which is embarrassing. Alright, so I'm back home and plugged into my home charger, which is the Ocular home solar charger. So you can see the Ocular app, 25.1 amps drawing from the excess solar, and nicely done there on the Tesla app, which correlates. We've got 5.8 kilowatts of solar being produced at 10:26 a.m, 5.3 going to the home. Includes the Deepal charging with the Ocular, and then there's a 0.5 kilowatt margin of error as it calibrates every now and then. Alright, so good morning everyone. We are heading off to Canberra this morning. Range 475 kilometers at 100%, so we are good to go. Okay, bags are packed, let's go. Hey everyone, so we're just crossing the Sydney Harbour Bridge on our way to Canberra. It's not so much a long drive, I guess. We've, in Australia, Sydney to Canberra is pretty much just down the road, but I guess we can call it a short, long drive. Nevertheless, it's a good test for the battery's range anyway. Pretty comfy in the cabin here. Suspension's been good. Very insulated so far, just on the roads coming into town. The music system is pretty good actually. It sounds really nice. Sony speakers. And what's good is the back row, second row is very comfy. Kids are enjoying themselves there. They can control the air conditioning and lots of legroom as well, as you can see. Alright, so we'll keep going. Our first stop will be in Goulburn just for some lunch, but I'm planning not to charge because I want to see whether we can get all the way to Canberra on just one charge from 100%. So stay tuned. Beautiful day here. Big cruise ship. Okay, so I just want to talk about the setup of my screen. So if you watch my earlier review of the screen, it's got this sunflower tilt function where it'll just tilt towards the driver. You can set that automatically, or you can manually set which direction you want the screen to tilt. I've got on Apple CarPlay wireless, got Waze on this side, and I've got music here and the directions as well, heading up to Goulburn. Nice to have the air conditioning controls here present at all times, as well as a few more metrics up here too, including the speedometer. There's no instrument cluster screen here, but there is a head-up display. You can see the bucket for the screen here. You probably can't see my display just because of the angle of the camera, but it's quite handy. It's got my speedometer there. It's got also the cruise control visualizations as well. You can see the other cars as well as the sensors, and you can adjust the cruise control settings here up and down, up on this side, sorry. That's the volume control on this side. And you can also obviously adjust how close you want to follow the car ahead to, and you can bring up 360 camera straight away like that, so maybe not, okay. You can't bring it up when the vehicle speed is too fast. That's interesting. I guess it's a distraction. I'll sneak back in this lane. Now, one thing I want to talk about too is all the ADAS notifications and warnings. For me, I know they put them on there for 5-star ANCAP rating and NCAP rating, which by the way this car doesn't have yet. It's got a 5-star NCAP, Euro NCAP rating, but not quite ANCAP. It's probably still getting tested as we speak. But I always swipe left rather, like that, to get the shortcuts on the right. And I always switch these off. So distraction warning, lane departure assist, and speeding alert. Otherwise it just gets way too distracting for me. I'll show you after when we stop how annoying and distracting the distraction warning is, ironically. And same with lane departure assist. Even though I'm on like intelligent cruise control, which has got like auto steer, lane centering, even with this on, the slightest adjustment with my wheel here and it'll start to beep and steer me back in really quite harshly. So I think it's too much having that on. So having these three off, it's actually quite a nice drive. So unfortunately with ADAS requirements, they switch back to default on every drive. So you've just got to quickly swipe left and then turn them off as you drive. So yeah, that's a quick rundown of my setup. Otherwise we'll keep driving and then I'll talk a bit more about cruise control and the ride comfort once we hit the freeway proper. Okay, so there's a bit of a slowdown here, I'm not sure why, but you see on Waze there how much time remaining in traffic. what's great is that with the cruise control, you know, I could just rest my hands here very lightly and the car will just follow the leading car ahead. I just have it on like number 1 setting so that I'm, you know, following closely. So that's the beauty of what they call, I guess, traffic jam mode, or just, it's basically just cruise control on a jam in a slow moving car. Okay, so we are, I think, 150 kilometers into the drive, I think possibly more. Let's have a look. 193 kilometers after charging, and there's the efficiency there, 18.7 kilowatt hours, 100 kilometers, a little bit high, admittedly. 1.5 kilowatt hours used for energy, for accessories like charging and so on, and AC, I guess, and music, etc. 36.2 kilowatt hours used already. We're down to 58% of the battery. And also what's cool is that you can see this energy flow of the car. You see that on the freeway, we're just using the battery up. Not much opportunity for regen, of course, and arguably cruise is better anyway for highways. And so far pretty comfortable ride. All passengers have been very happy, and the cruise control has been very stable as well. Pretty much keeping to the speed the whole time, which is very nice. Just drop that down a bit. Okay, so you can see what's happening there. Cruise speed 110. Okay, let's take a comment from Joy about ride comfort for passengers.
Definitely very comfortable for me. I think one of the key things is that I haven't constantly been looking at how soon we're going to reach our destination, because that's, for me, if I'm always looking like, oh, you know, is it an hour to go, hour and a half to go, it means it's probably not that comfortable. Whereas here I was like, oh, hey, we're only 15 minutes away from the destination. So for me, that's a sign that I wasn't constantly tracking how long it would take.
That's good. All right, well, we've got 14 minutes left to our first pit stop, which is some food, and I'm not going to charge. We're going to keep going after that, which is living on the edge, but we're going to do it. We're going to drive all the way to Canberra without charging up, so stay tuned. Okay, so let's shift down to drive and let's head off. Okay, so I was talking a bit before about the ADAS noises, so I'm just going to leave it off and show you what it sounds like without me doing anything. Okay, so that's the noise that comes up, even if I'm looking at the map to find out where I'm going. So it's just unbearable otherwise. Yeah, you just have to turn it off, unfortunately. Let me just get on the freeway, then I'll show you how to turn it off. Okay, let's join the freeway as we merge safely. There we go. Still pretty smooth on this concrete road. All right, let's swipe left from here and then turn distraction warning off. That beeping noise was the driver monitoring aid. Lane departure assist and speeding alert all off. Okay, that's much better now. And this is how you engage cruise control. There's a stalk on the right here. It's very much like the Tesla one. Just double tap down twice. There you go, and then you can set how close you want to follow. And then on my head-up display, you can see the visualizations. You probably can't see it on my screen. Okay, let's head off to Canberra. We'll see you guys when we get there. All right, so we arrived in Canberra, the nation's capital. Let's have a look. 305 kilometers, 54.9 kilowatt hours, 17.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, 2.7 kilowatt hours used for accessories. And we're down to 32% from 100%, so we've used 68% of the battery of this 79.97 kilowatt hour NMC battery to get here to Parliament House in Canberra. All right, so we're staying here for the next couple of nights. Ooh, nice atrium. Ooh, nice view from the bedroom. Okay, so we are here at the Royal Australian Mint to charge the car. 23% currently. That's the final stats before we charge. And we've driven around Canberra a little bit yesterday as well. So here we go. This is the NG Chem Power charger. It's saying 150 kilowatt max, 80 kilowatt shared. Let's plug in. All right. Okay, so using the ChargeFox app at the Royal Australian Mint. Let's do it. Details. Okay, we're port E, unlock, and hopefully this will start charging. Okay, and away we go. Charging time is extended due to limited charging station capacity. 1 hour 47 to get to 100% maximum battery level. There we go. We'll get to 100 today because I need the charge to get home. Plus, we'll spend some time here at the Mint as well. And the ChargeFox app will help us keep progress. So it's doing, what, 62, 63 kilowatts at 23% stated charge. Okay, and here we go, 71 kilowatts on the screen there, 24% stated charge. All right, let's head inside to the Mint. Okay, so obviously I've spoken about this enough. The Deepal charging speed is a little bit slow, admittedly, at 92 kilowatt max, but I guess one way around it is like what we're doing now is finding opportunities to do something else while you're charging, so what I call incidental charging. And in that hour and a half that it's going to be charging, we'll go do something else like visit the Royal Australian Mint, entertaining, educational hopefully, and then I'll monitor the charging as it goes along on the ChargeFox app as well. So, yep, let's go enjoy it. Ooh, that's a lot of dollar coins. Wow, every step is full of coins. 50 cent. Kind of almost looks like a car factory. There's a KUKA robot there. 1966. Australia changes from pounds to dollars. It's actually a pretty impressive place, the Mint. It's a lot better than I remember. Pretty interactive for all ages, and lots of artifacts on display too. And coffee while we wait. Okay, so we've spent 1.5 hours inside the Mint, learning about the history of money in Australia, and having a coffee and some snacks as well. And it took actually 50 minutes to get to 80%. And look, I'm all for incidental charging and trying to use up the time, and that way there's, you don't feel like the time's passing when you're charging, but 50 minutes for a roadside stop, if this was a roadside stop, to get to 80% is actually a bit too much. I mean, half an hour is acceptable, but 50 minutes is a long time, admittedly. But nevertheless, I'm now charged to 100%, and I better move my car before somebody posts a picture of the car on social media. So, all right, let's unplug. All right, there it is. Unlock the car. Let's have a look at the display. So at 99% stated charge, 15 kilowatts. So I guess it's still faster than AC charging at 11 kilowatts, which is the max for this car. We'll unplug very shortly. It's pretty cool design there, Royal Australian Mint. Just noticed that it's a 2-hour parking spot as well. Inside the car, 1 minute remaining to get to 100%. And at 474 kilometers, that's the WLTP range for this car. Yay, DC charging completed, 100%. Charging ended, 100%. All right, let's unplug. We'll slip it back in. Thank you, Chem Power. Thank you, NG. Thank you, Royal Australian Mint. And remember to replug your car, DC first, and then the AC. Okay, so the front is super useful. You can store things like, for example, this very handy portable scooter. Shameless plug. Thank you, Joa, for giving me this scooter. I'm gonna ride it around Canberra. Okay, let's set it up. Just watch your fingers as you do this. Been caught before. And just plug the battery in. Right, let's go check out the Pompeii exhibition here at the National Museum of Australia. Wow, to think all this is in Canberra. The amount of detail on these little statues are amazing. Wow. How did they cart this to Canberra all the way from Italy? First century bottle. So this is a cast of 4 people and their dog in their final moments. Wow, this truly is amazing. Painted plaster from that time, 79 CE. Amazing detail. So much detail in these artifacts. Jewelry. Egats. Okay, on the way back to Sydney now. I'm going to start the journey from Canberra with 90% state of charge. Alright, so we are down to 50% state of charge, 49% state of charge, and we're probably another hour at least away from our home in Sydney, probably another hour from central Sydney, but we might stop a long way for lunch. Okay, so we're just here in Cabramatta for lunch, and just a quick update, 297 kilometers since we charged, 51 kilowatt hours, 17.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and cumulative, let's put recent actually, that's our trip from Sydney to Canberra and back, 612 kilometers, 105.9 kilowatt hours, 17.2 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers consumption, 6 kilowatt hours from accessories use, and we're down to 36% state of charge at the moment. All right, let's head off for lunch. Okay, so we've made it back to Sydney with 25% state of charge. When I say Sydney, we made it back home to our place in Sydney with 25%. We left Canberra with 90%, so essentially it was a 65% journey. So the way back was actually slightly more efficient than going there, even despite the pit stop in Cabramatta for that yummy fur. And you can see from my stats here, so the trip from Canberra to Sydney, 16.8 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers for the 347 kilometer distance, energy use 58.5, and then 3.4 loss to accessories and heat and so on. So the total journey from here in Sydney to Canberra and back again, 662 kilometers, 112.9 kilowatt hours used, 17 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, 6.7 kilowatt hours lost to accessories and so on. So I think with the battery size of 79.97 kilowatt hours, an efficiency between 17 to 18 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, you can expect a full charge range of, say, 440 to 470 kilometers, depending on how you drive, of course. And then I should talk about the cost as well. So including the cost of the Tesla Supercharger at the start of this video, the mid in Canberra, and then topping up here back home, I think it'll cost between $50 to $60 for us for the 662 kilometers. I'll leave a link to my road trip spreadsheet comparing it to other ICE and hybrid vehicles as well. So I think overall the drive dynamics is quite good. I really enjoyed the drive. The car feels really solid and stable on the highway. Cruise control is actually quite dependable. And apart from the driver alert monitoring settings, which you've got to turn off straight away as you saw at the start of each drive, it's actually not too bad once you turn those off. So just keep that in mind if you're driving this vehicle. Last thing I want to touch on before I cross over to Joy is the charging speed. You saw how slow it was in Canberra. 50 minutes from 20 to 80% is, in my mind, probably a bit too slow. I wouldn't want to do that too often on a road trip on the side of the highway. I think 50 minutes is a bit too long. 30 minutes I can accept, but 50 might be a bit too long even for a young family. I think you run out of things to do eventually. Joy, what do you think overall, your thoughts on this journey?
I think that's actually the main thing that I disagree with you. I think 50 minutes for a young family is actually just about right. I think you have completely forgotten how long things take when you have a young family, and even just getting everybody out of the car, getting everybody to line up, everyone to choose their food, eat the food, then go to the bathroom, that is definitely a 50-minute turnaround time with a young family. So I think if you had a young family, I think it's actually not an issue at all to have the longer turnaround time for the car. Or even if you've got someone who might just take a bit longer, if you've got someone who's elderly or someone with special needs, you actually might need that longer time. So 50 minutes, I don't think it's a deal breaker if you're not traveling all the time on the road. So if you're only going to be doing road trips like every now and then I don't think it's going to be such a big issue. But if you're going to be driving, like intercity regularly, then I agree, probably not the best option. But if honestly, I wouldn't discount it if you were a young family, just because of the 50-minute time. 50 minutes goes very quickly with babies or young children.
That's true. I guess I must have forgotten how long it used to take with our kids when they were younger. But yeah, thinking now 50 minutes is, if you were to drive from Sydney to Melbourne, even with a 400 kilometre range, using 60% of the batteries, draining it from 80 to 20, that's only about like 250 kilometres. So you'd have to stop 3 times on that journey. So every time you've got to add 50 minutes on that to charge. That's 150 minutes. That's like 3 hours, almost 3 hours to your journey just to charge the car. So keep that in mind. I don't know if you've got a young family.
You probably wouldn't be doing that in one day.
Yeah,
anyway,
that's true. You probably stop halfway. But apart from the slow charging, I think a lot of the positives for this car probably still outweighs that one negative of that slower charging speed. So that's probably on my wish list for this car. I just wish there was a way you can increase or make the charging speed faster. And it was quite obvious as well that the kids really enjoyed the roominess of the second row. In fact, I found them asleep many times looking back in the rearview mirror.
It's very, very comfortable, and the fact that they have the little console here to adjust their own air conditioning, I think made them feel like they're in a bit more control. Wasn't so happy when they adjusted my seat, but they that was a one and done, and then they stuck to just changing the temperature as needed. So I think that helps a lot.
Yep, they learned very quickly not to upset mum during a road trip.
One thing I have to notice, obviously I've been in a lot of different cars, a lot of different screens. This is one of the most responsive, quickest screens, and just in terms of just getting where you need to go, like especially when you're in a faraway. You're not in your usual city. Getting to see waves and then putting the music on are like the two key things that the kids and Tom wants to do in the car, and they're both conflicting needs at the very start of any journey. One of them wants to put the music on immediately, and Tom's just trying to figure out, do I turn left or turn right? But in this car, you could pretty much do both almost instantly, and then forget about the ADAS, have that going off, and then have to switch it off again.
Yeah, no, you're right. It was a fairly responsive screen, I must admit. I quite enjoyed that. Certainly a lot better than some of the other cars we've driven. So, yeah, that's a very, very good point. All right, well, that's pretty much it from Joy and myself. Hopefully you enjoyed that trip between Sydney to Canberra and return. Hopefully you learned a lot about the car as much as we did. And once again, thank you to Inchcape Australia for loaning Joy and myself this car and trusting us with this as well for the next couple of weeks. Until the next Ludicrous Feed video, happy charging. Okay, so a bit of bonus footage. Someone asked me in my previous video, where is the emergency mechanical door release for the Deepal S07? It is right here underneath the armrest. You just see that panel there, so let me try that for you guys. Push that forward and remove this. See that yellow ring pull thing? Let's pull that. There we go. I can open the door now.